Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm writer Coach Tony, and welcome back to my channel. Um, Now I'm going to answer one question forwarded by a client, and he told me, "How do you write your chapter 4?" So, chapter 4 is your analysis and um, the interpretation analysis of your data. Because, in other words, you're answering already what yours what your research questions are, and you're either doing it qualitatively, quantitatively, through case study, and through other different methodologies you have decided to use, no? Which you discuss in your chapter 3. So, how do you go about doing your chapter 4? Um, what I guide my students with, what you do is just copy your state of the problem, transplant it into a new page in your computer, and that will be the outline of your chapter 4. Ganun lang kasimple, no? Put, di ba, like, in your research questions, you have number one, letter A, B, C. Number two, A, B, C. Three, A, B, C. Four, five. Usually five. Usually research questions for thesis have four or five, no? Research questions. So what you do, you just copy paste it, put it in your chapter 4, and that will be the outline of your chapter 4. And with that guide, it should immediately stimulate your brain cells to start working. And you start with number one question, no? So, because I've noticed that many students are paralyzed, no? After they all have these survey questionnaires, they do the statistics, and then suddenly they're like, "Oh, how am I supposed to write it?" So how do you write it? You just put the whole research questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that will be the outline you have to follow. Um, so how do you get to writing? Well, you have to do there's a lot of work to do, no? Usually, if you're doing quantitative research, you have to do the survey, the statistical analysis of the survey. So the formulas you use will depend whether it's weighted mean or correlation, t-tests, ANOVA, standard deviation. So there's a multiple regression. So there's a host of statistical formulas that you can use, no, for your study, and that is something you've decided on when you're still writing your methodology. So that when you get to this part, chapter 4, you already know what to do. No? So it's easy for you to make conclusions. So basically, what you do when you're at chapter 4 is basically just answer each of the questions. You know? If you have a major question and you have some sub questions A, B, C, then you do A, B, C first before you answer the whole question. No? So you start small, put the pieces together, and then you write the whole um, thing, no? The whole answer the whole question, and usually you're given, I don't know, um, maybe 20 pages. That's about 5,000 words. Am I right? 5,000 to 10,000 words. So it's up to you to budget how many words you have to give per question. The idea here is for you not to ramble, because when you're writing, you're just writing and writing and writing, and then you're going, like, you're not able to balance your analysis. What happens is you have so many answers to question number 2, but too few for question number 4, and number 5 you only have like 1 page. So, well, of course it will depend on the type of question you are asking, but the idea here is to balance, to make sure that you're sufficiently answering each research question, and and of course you want to reach your word count, the word count that the university has given you. So what you do is you budget the number of words you want to give per per um, research question. So let's say you say 3,000 words for question number 1, 2,000 words for question number 2. So it depends on the contribution of that research question to the research. If that's your main, if that's the main question of your research, then obviously you have to give the most number of words to it. No? So um, they also ask me, what's the outline you have to follow? Just copy paste your research questions, and that will be your outline. No? So that will be your guide. Um, it's good because it helps. It makes it easier for the thesis, the people checking your thesis to read your work. No, if it follows closely your statement of the problem, it's easier for them to read your work because it follows a certain consistency, coherence. Um, it has to be your work has to be coherent because if it goes off tangent many times, it will be very difficult for the thesis advisors or thesis checkers to read it, and they might fail you, you know. So make sure you follow the outline very closely and answer your questions based on the flow of the state of the problem you gave in the first place. No? It also makes your life easier, no? And it has made the lives of many of my students much easier because they just follow the flow of the statement of the problem. And if you notice, when you write a statement of the problem, you go step to step, step by step, until you reach answering your main question. So um, writing the statement of the problem itself is an outline by itself. So by answering your chapter 4 that way, you follow an outline which helps you form your thoughts. No, you go from small details to big details, and then finally, bang! No, you answer the main questions, which are usually in chapter number 4 and number 5 of your research questions. So I hope I was able to answer your question. Um, Basta just relax, do the statistics, do the case study, or depending on whatever methodology you used, and then you follow your statement, how your research questions were written. Because you also ask me, where do I put these parts of the interview? As I said, no, what does your interview answer? What questions? No? Does it answer number 1, number 2, number 3? Then they say it answers all of it. Then you just input the answer of the respondents to the research question it is supposed to answer. No? Don't make life hard for you. So that's why you really have to know the output of your research, because as you write it, you'd know where to get your answers. No? And then as you slowly do it, your whole work will just have a certain flow to it, and I'm sure you'll enjoy doing it because you're beginning to realize you're coming up. Because as you're writing, your brain is working also, no? And it allows you to form your next chapter, which is your conclusion. It allows you to have a general summary of it. It allows you to form conclusions and then form recommendations as well. In my case, I actually write both almost simultaneously, because when I have ideas, I put it in recommendations. If I get ideas, I put it in conclusion. If I answer a certain part of your thesis, I immediately put it in the conclusion, because that's usually what the conclusion is. And then the recommendations part, it comes as you are writing. So when you fully write chapter 5, you already have kind of several ideas in it. So it's not so hard to start from. You don't have to start from scratch. No? You already have ideas in it. But it really depends on you. No? If you can do it simultaneously, great. If not, then you just do it per chapter. Because actually, doing chapter 4 by itself is very daunting. No? Kasi ang dami mong gagawin. No? It's like, it takes like a month of writing. But that's basically the answer. That's the fruit of all your labor. So take time to do it. Follow the outline of your statement of the problem, and you should be in good hands. Try not to stray to it. Stay within your word count. Do not ramble. Just focus on answering your research objectives. That way, um, you are totally in line with your objectives. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. If you have any other questions, you reach me in my Twitter, my Facebook, and my Instagram, and then please also subscribe to my channel. Okay, thank you very much. Till our next video vlog. Bye bye.